September 14th. My doctor suggested I start keeping a journal in order to organize my thoughts. Said it would help reduce stress, and God knows I need that. I don't even know what to write. I've never done the journal thing before, but I guess I'll start simple. My name is Milo Stokes. I'm in the U.S. Marines stationed at Cherry Point, North Carolina. Almost a year ago, my wife left me after 4 years, said she couldn't take this lifestyle anymore. Can't say I blame her though. If I had a way out, I'd take it too. September 23rd. It's been a little while since my first entry. What can I say? This shit's new to me. Though I'll admit, writing whatever I happen to be thinking is sort of liberating. As of right now, nothing new to report. Same old bullshit at work, drinking every night, screaming at my walls, you know, normal stuff. September 26th. Okay, I'm really hoping my own fucking journal isn't going to judge me here, but I've been kind of afraid of the dark. Not the dark itself, but the prospect of what may be in it. The unknown. And don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean at all that I try to avoid it. On the contrary, I'm sort of a thrill seeker and get a rise out of scaring the shit out of myself. My ex-girlfriend Mary and I used to hang out in graveyards at night and take pictures, just in the hopes that we would find something. And her, man, she would see shit all the time. Especially here in this house. One night, shortly after we moved in, I was in the living room watching TV as she headed to bed. After a while, I heard some loud movement and she shouted my name. I rushed into the bedroom to find her sitting up on the bed, blankets up to her face, staring wide-eyed in a particular spot in the room. She explained that she was falling asleep when she heard a sound, something like a knee cracking coming from the direction of the closet. She looked over and saw a man in a uniform staring at her from the closet doorway. Well, not staring at her, she elaborated, more like staring through her. And she had glanced at the bedroom door when calling my name, and when she looked back, the man was gone. The next day she described him to me. Going on Google, I searched the specifics of his uniform and found out that it was a Marine Corps service uniform from the World War I era. She saw him a few more times, one time standing in the hallway, nothing particularly threatening, he was just there, watching. September 27th. Fell asleep typing last night, never finished the entry, woke up late for work, got bitched at, the usual. So anyway, after she started seeing this guy, we would do like we saw in paranormal shows and set up a recorder to see if we could catch any strange sounds or voices digitally. We met with some success. We got a few weird sounds as well as some voices. However, every time it would be a deep man's voice. Throughout the time we did this, we got some that were memorable. One that stuck out to me the most, however, and still haunts me to this day, happened probably a few months before we split up. I was still recording mostly out of habit when one day I heard, "We won't always be here." The next few lines were hard to make out, but it definitely ended with, "Protect you." September 29th. So in relation to my last entry, the voices on the recording stopped altogether when she left. I literally heard nothing, not even static. But recently, strange things have been happening around the house. I'll see what looks like children playing outside the window, but when I go and check, there's no one there. But I'ma finish this drink and go to bed. October 1st. Alright, So, I was on duty and some weird shit went down. I let my A duty take the first sleeping post, and in those few hours I was totally alone and nobody else went in or out. So tell me, how in the fuck was there a ragdoll sitting in the middle of the passageway outside? All of the Marines that live here are at least 17 years old. Who the hell owns a ragdoll? And who the hell would have it just lying around in the middle of the hall? October 2nd. I'm having a hard time typing this. My hands are extremely shaky at the moment. All of these recent incidents going on lately have been a totally different manner than what I'm used to. I've been hearing voices without recording now. Kids' voices, in fact. And occasionally I'll hear the voice of an older woman, and then everything will stop. Dead silence. This all reminded me of the time we started looking for information on our uniformed ghost, looking up legends and ghost stories that Cherry Point had gathered over the years since its construction, but we didn't find anything on the World War I Marine. This is what we did find, however. Havelock, Marine Corps Air Station, Cherry Point. It is said that the ghost of Kylie Skies haunts the flight line and the housing looking for her children. She does not like men. In the housing you can hear children playing, and from personal experience, Kylie herself appears in children's bedrooms after they are put to sleep. Toys in the children's rooms are moved even when they aren't in there. There are many different stories as to Kylie's origins, but the most common theme is that she and her children were abused and murdered by her husband, who had returned from the war suffering from shell shock, now known as post-traumatic stress disorder. She and her children were buried together on base, but upon construction of the current flight line, half of the graveyard was relocated to another section of the installation. Separated from the graves of her children, she now searches for them, taking vengeance on men who have mistreated their families. So being the graveyard rats we were, we set out not long after to learn what we could about Kylie Skies. We found her grave on site of the flight line, and just as the website described, on the other side there were several smaller graves, some bearing only a first name, mostly without any dates, and suddenly, the only thing October 4th. After reading every page in this journal, I decided it would only be fitting to fill out at least one last page. After missing an entire workday, Milo Stokes was reported missing by his platoon. PMO was immediately dispatched to his residence to investigate, and soon found him dead, sitting at his computer desk. The cause of death has not yet been clearly determined. However, the rate of suicide within the Marine Corps is currently the highest in the nation. Upon investigation, it has been speculated that Stokes took his own life in a manner not yet determined, in response to increasing work pressures, an alcoholic tendency, and his pending divorce. Rest in peace, Milo Stokes.